We're joined by a great friend of our broadcast, a great friend of the American Center for Law and Justice, U.S. Senator James Lankford of Oklahoma. Senator Lankford, there's a lot I want to get to, so I'm going to jump right into it. First, you are on the Homeland Security and Government Affairs. You're the lead Republican on that subcommittee, and you've talked about Title 42 and the fact that this might it's set to expire next month, and that even after we saw the highest numbers of border crossers in 20 years last year, we're about to, Senator, enter what's called, warm season, where we start seeing these migrant crossings at a much bigger level. What do you think needs to be done with Title 42, which allowed the administration, started by the Trump administration, to expel migrants because of the pandemic and not have to go through a long process? What should be done?
Yeah, the most basic thing here is to be able to keep Title 42 in place. It's interesting that the administration is now looking to announce that the pandemic is over on the border, and they're going to allow everyone to cross the border to come into the country and then just to pursue a hearing, let's say 5 to 6 years from now. So they stay in the country for 6 years while they're waiting on their hearing. They're looking to allow all those folks to be able to come in by saying the pandemic's over on the border, but yet we're still wearing masks on planes. He's still firing members of the military if they don't get the vaccine. So it's a nonsensical policy that they've actually got in place here. The most basic thing they can do is keep Title 42 in place. Even DHS, in their own information, has quietly stated that if they pull out Title 42 authority, they expect 1 million people within 2 months to cross our southern border. 1 million people within 2 months. To give you just a picture of that, that was 900,000 last summer that we saw in all the chaos. They expect 1 million on top of those numbers of what we saw last year.
Senator, you said that one thing you could do, one thing Congress could do, is to bring a Congressional Review Act forward to overturn this attempt. Can you explain to people what that would be?
I can, actually. So the Congressional Review Act is an older statute, but it allows Congress to be able to step in and act when the administration does something on regulations we disagree with. We've won several of these. For instance, we just had a Congressional Review Act on mask mandates in transportation. We passed that in the House. Even quite a few Democrats even joined us in that one as well. Sent it over the House. It's still awaiting action over in the House. But it gives us the opportunity to be able to speak into something, send it to the president's desk, and to say we have strong disagreement with this regulation that we put in place. The biggest thing that we could do, though, is continue to be able to shine light on this as you're doing right now, because the more the administration hears how upset the American people are about this, the more we understand that they are planning the chaos at our southern border. It's not just, as they say, just that they can't understand why so many people are crossing. They're actually planning the chaos at our southern border, that it hopefully acts as a deterrent to this administration for the light to be shown on it.
Senator, one of the things that, of course, there's multiple problems at the border when it comes to these illegal crossings. Sex trafficking is huge. The increased fentanyl coming into and illegal drugs coming into the United States or coming from the southern border. I don't understand for the life of me why the current administration is not recognizing the significance of these social ills that derive out of illegal border crossings. Not all of them, obviously, but a significant enough number that it's affecting every community in the United States.
You do. Every single school in the United States is seeing an influx of students that are coming in that don't have a legal connection to the country. Schools are stepping in to provide education. It has a real effect there on the classroom environment and for teachers, because you have individuals that don't speak the language. But this is not just individuals, as the administration states, from people just from Central America. Last year, we had people from every country in the world illegally cross our border. Just in the last few months before the war even started between Ukraine and Russia, before that even started, just in the last couple of months, we've had 6,500 Russians that have illegally crossed the border that we picked up. So these are not just individuals from Central America. They're from all over the world. They're all paying a high price to the cartels in Mexico. As the Border Patrol will tell you, the border is secure. It's secure on the south side. The individuals will pay between $5,000 and $30,000 to the cartels to be able to cross in these different locations. That means that's a $10 billion influx in cash to the cartels in Mexico based on how we're having this open border on our southern border. So we want to empower the people that are smuggling drugs into our country, that are doing human trafficking, that there's all kinds of child sex abuse and everything else happening on the south side of the border in these cartels. If you want to empower it, then you have an open border policy like what we have. If you want to stop it, you actually enforce the laws of the country, and that actually takes money away from the cartels as well.
Senator Langford, I want to get back to what's happened in Ukraine and Russia, because this is a point that I think has been discussed a lot in the media. There's been a back and forth and exchange, and people are concerned about how much can the U.S. get involved without going into direct war with Russia. We certainly hear that a lot from our administration, but Republicans and Democrats are kind of in different spots on this. But you put out a statement. You said the U.S. has provided Javelin, Stingers, intel, food, water, and medical supplies to Ukraine already. It's within our powers to do good. We should do good. The U.S. has access, and this is the key, to the MiG-29s, the jet fighter aircraft. We should not withhold them from Ukraine. You're being joined by Senator Lindsey Graham, Senator Ernst, Senator Crapo, Senator Kramer, Senator Scott, Wicker, and Senator Romney on this. I know there's been a lot of discussion, but here's an opportunity. You're talking to an audience who has heard, from the most part, from all aspects of media, actually, from right and left and different members of Congress, that this would be an escalation. It would get us involved in a World War III. And I want your response to that, because I do feel like people are watching this every day feeling like, I wish we could be doing something else, something more to help these people who are fighting back so valiantly.
Yeah, we can do more. And I think this whole escalation conversation really is based on a Russian propaganda piece. Remember that Putin said, if you put sanctions on our country, that's an act of war. If you provide any kind of resources to the Ukrainians, that's an act of war. This is something that Putin just throws out over and over again. What he's trying to do is to frighten the rest of the world into helping the Ukrainians who want to just be able to protect their own country. These are folks that are trying to protect their own country from a foreign invasion of a ruthless thug that's come across the border. This is a reasonable thing for us to do. And let me just tell you a couple other things here. Since 2014, we've had American troops on the ground in Ukraine training the Ukrainian military how to be able to fight the Russians. We've provided them the resources. We've provided them the ability to be able to fight. It is not unreasonable to also provide them aircraft. Again, I go back to this basic biblical principle. If it's within your power to do good, do good. And we have the ability to be able to help them protect their own nation by giving them access to these MiG fighters. The Polish military has already said they would gladly donate these. And right now it's the United States that's standing in the way of them getting access to be able to protect their country.
Senator, the president also said that sanctions are never meant to be a deterrence. Now, others in his administration have said sanctions are a deterrent. So the mixed messaging here to me is incredibly confusing to the world population we're dealing with, to our allies. And I think part of the problem that we have there is, if we believe that sanctions, if the president really believes that sanctions are not a deterrent, then what are we doing?
Yeah, he's trying to punish people that are murdering their neighbors instead of trying to stop people that are murdering their neighbors. There's a big difference there. Clearly, sanctions are punishment, but clearly they're also a deterrent to be able to say we'll continue to be able to ratchet this up. It is the ability for the oligarchs that are in Russia that are severely hurt by this, and for the Russian people to be able to speak out to their government and to be able to say, stop this unjust war that's actually happening. We don't know why we're invading the country of Ukraine, and we're personally suffering because of his actions on this. So this undercuts Putin's authority. The Ukrainian people are fighting valiantly for their own nation, and it's one more piece that we can continue to be able to put out there. So certainly it's punishment, but certainly it's deterrent. And by the way, it's not the only mixed message. As you remember, just 3 weeks ago, the Secretary of State stood up and said, we're green lighting the MiGs to be able to send from Poland to Ukraine. That was his term. We're green lighting all of that. And then literally within 24 hours, the administration came back and said, no, now we're actually thinking about it. And then he says, no, it's escalatory. So this mixed messaging doesn't help people that there's actually having artillery blow up their cities.
Senator Langford, as always, we appreciate your time, your expertise on all these issues, and again, a great friend of the American Center for Law and Justice, Senator James Langford.